streets are talking. You are now listening to The Box Out, tri-state area basketball talk at its best. And now your hosts, Kahlil Thomas and Jason Cordner. Let's get it.
From NJ to BK and the world, this is The Box Out here on the One Podcast Network on YouTube. My name is Kahlil Thomas. Joining me in just a few minutes from Brooklyn, New York will be Jason Cordner. We are back. A little bit of a break. As you can see, this is remodeling behind me. So, I can look smart. I read books and stuff. You can read, see, I got books. But we've been off a couple weeks. We're going to come back and talk Knicks, obviously. I think the Knicks are the big topic right now. While we're off, it was announced that Julius Randle would miss the remainder of the season. His shoulder just never got better. It never recovered. And he, for lack of a better term, he tried his best to go without the surgery. He tried to kind of play through the pain. He tried to see if he can kind of get it to 100%. And the reports were that he was making progress, and then he kind of re-injured himself in the middle of all the training and trying to get back. So at this point of the year, he opted for surgery, which I think, looking at it in hindsight, the surgery should have been the first option. I think if you got the surgery when he first got hurt, we could have been talking about, okay, could Randle make it back for the playoffs? That's just my opinion. I think him and the Knicks are on the same page and said we could probably rehab this, not be at 100% when the time came, but maybe get to like an 80% for the playoffs and see what you can do from there. But there's no Julius Randle for the Knicks for the playoffs, and I think the question becomes, how far could the Knicks go without Julius Randle? I think that's a legitimate question to ask, because you get OG Anunoby back last night. Jalen Brunson put in 45, 50 points in the one game against San Antonio a few weeks ago. He went off. But right now, you have a team with Jalen Brunson, and that's it. That's what we got. Jalen Brunson, and then a bunch of kind of ancillary pieces surrounding him, right? Jason Hart playing his ass off. His stat line last night, I think it was like 17, 13, and 7. You know what you're getting from Josh Hart. You know what you're going to get from Dante DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo will give you 32 points in one game and then shoot 2 for 14 the next game. All right. You get Mitchell Robinson back. I think that's a big move. I think him and Hartenstein, that 1-2 punch inside, is really good. Precious Achiuwa could be a really, really handy piece down low. He's an undersized center, so you're going to play him at the center. He's only 6'8", 6'9", so he's kind of undersized. You play him at the power forward more so than anything else. You have to hope, beyond hope, that Hartenstein or Mitch Robinson don't get in any foul trouble, or they both get in early foul trouble, and they're going to depend on Precious Achiuwa. Achiuwa should play the 4. Bojan Bogdanovic, he's a 3 or a 4, depending on where you put him. You don't really know what position he really plays. I think he's better at the 3. He has the size to play the 4, but he's slow. He's a spot-up shooter whose defense is lacking. Alec Burks, we haven't really seen much of Alex Burks, of what he could bring to the table since he came back to the Knicks. Deuce McBride, I think, is a good young point guard, but Brunson's playing 40 minutes a game, so you got to play a lot of lineups with Deuce McBride and Jalen Brunson. Now you got to go small. That's a problem. There's bigger guards in the playoffs where it's going to get physical. The question is, not even can the Knicks get to the finals, not can the Knicks get to the Eastern Conference Finals. The question becomes, can the Knicks advance to the next round of the playoffs? In the playoffs, make it to the first round. As I bring in Jason Cordner from Brooklyn, New York. Jay, what's going on, man?
Not much. How you feeling?
Good. So I'm gonna get to your WrestleMania trip in a second, because we're gonna do the show on Sunday, and Jay was like, I ran into some tickets to Mania. I'm like, oh shit. So we'll get to that later. But I want to talk about the Knicks, and I know we were talking about this. We were going to talk about it last week. Julius Randle out. Jalen Brunson, obviously, he's the team. Jalen Brunson is the New York Knicks right now. What's their ceiling going forward? Because I feel like Jalen Brunson, he's kind of put the team on his shoulders, but can he kind of sustain this run he's on?
I mean, it's looking very I'm not Jalen Rose. It's looking very much Derrick Rose in Chicago when they had the #1 seed and he kind of, he got hurt. I think their ceiling. Well, I'm thankfully that I think Milwaukee's going to hold on to the 2 seed. So there lies the Knicks at 3. I think the Knicks will get the 3rd seed. And if they get Indiana or the suddenly falling Orlando Magic, I think they have a shot to get to the 2nd round. If somehow the 76ers move up to 6, I think that's problematic for the Knicks. So if they can avoid the 76ers, that's the only team below them that I'm worried about. Other than that, I think it's safe to say if they can stay at the 3rd seed, I think they can get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I think they have enough to beat Milwaukee, who might even be compromised. They might not even make it out the first round matchup. So I think their ceiling is definitely the Eastern Conference Finals. I think everybody pretty much agrees that Boston is heading above everybody in the East. I don't see them really, I like the approach that the rest of Porzingis now. I think they will coast to the conference finals at minimum. So I would anticipate the Knicks, Boston, Eastern Conference Finals from right now.
So right now the Knicks are in the 3, like you said. If the season ended today, it would be Knicks Pacers first round, which brings back hella memories from our childhoods. So that was bringing me back to like a different time. So 3-6 would be Knicks Pacers. Obviously, Celtics the 1 seed. They will wait for the play-in tournament to proceed. So would the Bucks. Your 4-5 is Cavs Magic. I think Orlando's going to drop. I don't think Orlando's going to hold.
I think they're going to fall to 6.
Yeah, I think 6. So I think a 3-6 Knicks Magic. I think that's the matchup you want.
Right.
Because I think even the Pacers for the Knicks, the Pacers are a scary team. I think since they kind of figure out how to use Pascal Siakam, they become a way better team. You still got Tyrese Halliburton hitting that weird jumper he got, but I think they figure out how to kind of maneuver Siakam with him and Turner and other. It's not a matchup I want, but how comfortable are you with a Knicks Pacers series 3-6?
I think that'll be a little intriguing, but you're right. I forgot about Siakam. Now you don't have Randle. I think the 2 guys in the conference that would probably scare me in terms of matchup wise is Siakam and Embiid, because I feel like, yeah, we got OG that can defend a wing. I don't want him stuck on those guys where he'll get in foul trouble, which could then you're really screwed if you're the Knicks. So I think you're right. I think those are the 2 matchups that I would not want to see in the first round. Maybe as you get the confidence going in the second round, sure. But in the first round matchup, you're right. I'd rather see Orlando. I think you're right. I think it's Orlando. That's who we pretty much want to pencil in as a first round opponent. Or the Cavs. I think the Knicks have enough. They definitely have the Cavs number, and they're in their heads. So I think those 2 teams, if they match up with them in the first round, they'll take care of business.
So before you got on, I was kind of going through the roster and like who's doing what and what you're going to get from these guys. Because obviously Brunson's the guy. I think your starting 5 is Brunson, DiVincenzo, I think Hart.
Hart.
Or Hart OG. You can kind of interchange either one of them. I think Precious is your 4, and then Mitch or Hartenstein, depending on the day, could be your 5. And then your bench, I think, is kind of like that X factor because obviously depending on if Hart comes off the bench, because you kind of want that energy come off the bench. I want him not to start the game. But then you have, a Deuce McBride. I'm looking at the roster as I talk about this. Bogdanovich. I think a Jericho Sims could help out rebounding, another big body kind of throw in there. Burks, I still haven't seen the Alec Burks that I remember from when he played with the Knicks the last time.
I think he'll return to playoffs. I think he has no choice but to return in the playoffs for the Knicks to be successful.
And I think the wild card, and tell me if I'm wrong, and this was like an undercover acquisition. I forgot the Knicks had Shake Milton.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
So, and Shake Milton played some serious playoff minutes in Philadelphia. How does Shake Milton he's not going to lead you to a championship, but a lot of playoff experience. He played in big games, a big 2 who could probably play the 3-2. How big could Shake Milton really be for this team in an acquisition that you kind of forget that even happened?
I think it definitely opened up the floor more for Brunson to do his thing. And, I know we're going to talk about Randle in a minute. I kind of like the Knicks' position heading in the playoffs without him because I feel like he would have been a big what if factor if he was playing and he would have disrupted the whole offense entirely. So I kind of like the pieces the Knicks have going forward, the chess pieces in terms of matchup wise, come the playoff time, and not having to rely on Julius bringing up the ball, being a black hole for the offense. I think it's going to bode well for the Knicks in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think the ball definitely moves a lot. I think there was one sequence in Chicago where I can't remember who hit the three. I'm going. I think it was OG. OG hit a corner three, but the ball just moved from place to place to place to place. And OG was wide open in the corner.
Yep.
That's what you don't get with Julius Randle on the floor. Julius Randle kind of stops the ball. We talk about Carmelo stopping the ball. It's about Steph Marbury to stop the ball damn time. Same idea. But I think now Brunson takes the shots when it's there. He drives to the basket. He takes the threes if he has the shot, if he feels like he can make it. But for the most part, you're seeing that ball move a lot. And I feel like that's going to help this team out in the playoffs. And I think, I love Randall, and he gives you, 25 points a game, 13, 14 rebounds a game, but he takes bad shots. I still don't like his attitude completely. Like,
he definitely doesn't play defense all the time.
Like, not having him hurts, but I'm not crying over it either at the end of the day at all. Like, I think Knicks fans are in the same boat. Like, yeah, we would love to have him, but you know what? At the end of the day, we really don't give a shit if he's here or not. I'm just putting it out.
Remember the last two playoff performances by Randall, so yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I don't need that in my life right now. I know. I need some excitement, some happiness. I need that. I don't need that. I need that activity in my life. Milwaukee, we talked Milwaukee. Milwaukee, Giannis went down. He kind of avoided a serious Achilles injury. He's going to be out. And I think now we're looking at Giannis in the same way we look at Joel Embiid. Embiid's not 100% going to the playoffs. Giannis is going to come back, play in the playoffs. He's not going to be 100%. For those two teams, the Sixers and the Bucks, how important? I want to word the question right, because I don't want to make it seem like since they're not 100%, they don't have a shot. But do they have a shot if their two star players are not 100%? Especially Giannis,
I don't think so.
Who plays so hard and just bangs down low. Like, how big is having Giannis at 75% and Embiid at 70%?
I think it's huge, and I think this is where the Bucks are really going to get exposed for giving up on Holiday so easily, just to get Dame, who plays no defense, who's not really known for his defensive prowess. Anyhow, so I think, ironically, I do think that might be the matchup we see in the first round. I do think if the 76ers got to play Miami in the play-in, I think they're going to beat Miami. They're going to get the 7th seed, and they'll probably match up with the Bucks. And I think if you was to ask me, gun to my head, I think I'll take the 76ers in that matchup. Coaching-wise, they got the edge. I trust Maxey. I trust Embiid to neutralize Giannis. And Dame could give you 40, but then there's no one else that's going to give you anything. So I think the Bucks are one and done anyway. And somehow it's going to be all on Doc Rivers, who's had a great coaching, resurrection here in the second half of the season. So I would say the Bucks are definitely in more trouble than the 76ers.
So about the Bucks too, 4-6 in their last 10 games. They had a good run after the All-Star break. They fell apart again. I was watching Speak on FS1. I'm not a fan of that show. Just happened to be on. I was like cleaning up my house, and Joy Taylor made a point. Joy Taylor said, we all said Doc Rivers was not the guy for this job, and how they just let Adrian Gifford go because of his personality conflict, and obviously the personality conflict came from him and Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's point blank. Period.
He probably said his brother sucks.
I mean, I don't know how he still got a job. I'm still God bless Giannis, but I think this could be a make or break for Giannis, Milwaukee, because at the end of the day, they're stuck with Doc Rivers going forward. All right, after this year, he's gonna be there next year, probably the year after.
I got a big question for you when you're done.
What does the future look like for Milwaukee? Let's say if they don't make it out of that first round, because I feel like the Doc Rivers signing very polarizing. I know on this show, I think I call him a con man because he's done nothing in his career except that 1 year in Boston. What is the future like in Milwaukee if they get ousted in that first round and Giannis, who just signed that max, is like, nah, I made a mistake. I want out.
I already see it. I don't even need a crystal ball to predict this. Doc Rivers is going to pull a Jeff Saturday, go right back to ESPN. He'll be back at ESPN before you know by the summer. And I think Giannis is going to look at the writing on the wall and be like, yeah, I want out of here. And Dame's going to be like, I didn't sign up for this. And he's going to eventually want out of here. It's going to look like Brooklyn 2.0. And my question to you is, if you are the Knicks, we have a treasure trove of first-round picks. Are you going to use 2 on Giannis? Are you going to use 2 on Bridges? Or are you going to use 2 on Kevin Durant, who I think is also going to want out of Phoenix this summer?
That is an interesting question. I mean, I feel like Brunson and Giannis won't work.
But I think Brunson and KD would work. KD really messed all of this up. He should have been a Knick from the beginning. Go ahead.
But I think you bring in a Bridges without the pressure. Because think about it. When Bridges came to Brooklyn and the way he played last year, the assumption was he was going to be the guy.
Right.
And I think that got in his head. That's why you've seen Cam Thomas kind of become the guy in Brooklyn and Bridges kind of taking that secondary role. I think if Mikal Bridges knows he's coming to the Knicks and knowing there's no pressure on you to be number one.
I got my boys got my back.
Yeah. I got Brunson. I got Randle, maybe. You got Hart, DiVincenzo. You know these guys. We don't want you to come in here and score 30 points a game. Come in here and just play your game. I think you get the best out of Bridges. So I think I would spin the 2 with Bridges and not on. And I don't need KD. I don't want the headache because KD to me, I'm putting KD in that same realm as Aaron Rodgers right now. Just go away Heat. That's what he's got with me right now. He's got go away Heat.
Allegedly, Aaron Rodgers loves Jersey. From I'm hearing, I heard he loves Montclair. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah,
that's the ayahuasca talking. That's him in dark rooms and shit. He don't really like Jersey. He actually said his whole experience in Jersey was quote unquote yummy, which I'm like,
what does that mean?
Is Aaron Rodgers sounding douchey? I don't know, but Bridges would be the guy. Bridges would be the guy who would go after hardcore. Brooklyn's eliminated officially. I think they're like, we got to blow it all up.
They have to.
I think they tried to do it on the fly and go, we got Bridges, we got Cam Thomas, we got Cam Johnson. They just signed Cam Johnson's crazy contract that he didn't deserve. Claxton's I think he's unrestricted free agent.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the time where you can probably buy low with Bridges. You might even have to use both draft picks. You might be able to use one and just throw in a bunch of other players. Bogdanovich is there one more year. You get rid of him.
True.
So I just Bridges just seems like the better play. 9-10 matchup right now to play in the East. Bulls Hawks. Who are you taking in that one? Because that 9-10 game just looks to be a complete shit show.
I think I'm gonna take the Bulls only because I think DeRozan's gonna go off. He's gonna take it. He's gonna be the only one. He's gonna be the only grown up that takes it seriously. So I'm gonna take him.
Bruce, what's going on? Well, if you smell what WWE's cooking today, I hate you, Bruce. I can't stand you, Bruce. He had a WWE crack in the chat, so we'll get to that in a second. In the Western Conference, and you mentioned KD, Phoenix is sinking. Phoenix is officially in play-in position. So 7, 8, 9, 10 in this order. Phoenix, Sacramento, Lakers, Golden State. That's your 7, 8, 9, 10 in the Western Conference. Denver ahead of the Timberwolves and the Thunder by 1 game. So there's a race for the top 3. What's happening in Phoenix? 6-4 in the last 10 games, but you're starting to see the cracks with that team now.
I just think the chemistry, they never got a chance to really develop that chemistry amongst the big 3. And we know there was already defensive challenges going on. I just think that it was an incomplete roster. That's what I think would happen with them. And they're going to try to navigate the murky waters. I think if they stay at 7 or 6, if they catch 6, they'll be fine. But I think they're first round eliminated anyway. But if they got to play in, I like their chances because of their firepower, offensive firepower. But in terms of a first round matchup, they're 1 and done.
Bruce in the chat said the Suns need a point guard. And it's funny because I was listening to Ben Simmons, Bill Simmons the other day, and he mentioned how the point guard is like a lost position in the NBA. Such thing as
when like
a
2-3 years ago, it was the primary position in the NBA.
Exactly. You don't have a Jason Kidd whose primary job is to bring the ball up, facilitate, distribute, and get it done. How bad, and Bruce said it, Suns need a point guard. How many teams in the NBA do you think really need a true point guard? Because even Jalen Brunson's a point guard, but he's not a point guard. I'm talking Jason Kidd. I'm talking Rod Strickland. I'm talking I'm trying to think of another like a Tim Hardaway who scored but also distributed and ran the offense. Right. How many teams do you think in the NBA really are missing a true point guard?
I think maybe more than half. If you think about it, I mean, how many true point guards are really left in the league right now? Outside of Halliburton.
Halliburton might be the guy. I think Halliburton. No, Denver, Minnesota. Minnesota's Conley.
Conway, right?
Mike Conley might be the guy.
The reason why they're having a great year too. Conway's really a low-key reason why they're having a good year because he puts everybody in a position where. Remember how we always talk about how is Gobert and Cat going to work? Somehow they made it work because of Conway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm looking through. Memphis had Ja. Would Ja be that point guard? Or is he more like
a
combo?
Ja is pretty much a more athletic Jalen Brunson. So I wouldn't put Ja in that category. As a true point guard, I wouldn't put him in that category.
Drew Holiday.
I'll put him up there. Also, a reason why Boston's having a great year. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Who else?
Magic. No, they don't really have one. I thought Cole Anthony could be one, but I don't think Cole Anthony's gonna be that guy.
I want to put him as.
You said Halliburton.
Yeah.
The Sixers kind of have Maxey, but Maxey doesn't fit that bill. Miami doesn't have that. They're Rozier.
Steph is not. I mean, Steph.
Chicago.
Not really, but
no. Atlanta, Trey, no. Toronto had Van Vliet. Fred Van Vliet. Is he a point or is he a 2 to you?
He's a point.
Okay. So Van Vliet for Houston would be that. I think that's it. Because you have Ball in Charlotte, but he's not a point either. I don't think. He's not that traditional point.
Lonzo,
that's
healthy. I would put him up there, but he's not healthy.
Lonzo will be that guy. But it's also one thing I feel like Lonzo understands what he is. And I think he knew that coming out of college. Lonzo's like, I'm going to run the offense. I'm going to get my shot when my shot's there, but I'm not going to force my shot and force my way to getting a shot. But I think you're right on Lonzo. That's interesting. Not a lot of point guards here. Moving on from the NBA. Final Four, both men and women's happened this past weekend. And South Carolina, I'm going to start with women's first. I think that was the bigger story of the weekend for me. First of all, I want to get to LSU because we've been off. And, we talk a lot about Kim Mulkey. And she's definitely used the N-word with the hard ER at some point. And she really fought against this story that the Washington Post was going to write about her. And the story itself was not bad. I read the story. I'm like, it was more of a profile piece about Kim Mulkey, where she came from, her upbringing. She hasn't talked to her dad or her sister in like 30 years. How she treats players. Like, she's a tough coach, which is fine. But also when there's even an inkling of players being gay, she kind of told them, yeah, no, keep it to yourself. Essentially, it was a piece about someone that we knew was a douche already. It was like, okay, yeah, she was a piece of shit. We knew she was a piece of shit, but now we have an article kind of explaining how and why she's a piece of shit. And then you saw her play Iowa and not play well. Two things. Did the article affect the team? And I'm not sure if you read the article or if you read excerpts. Did that article change anything to you about Kim Mulkey in the grand scheme of things?
I think it just made the team look at it a little differently. That's what maybe. But I felt like they did have that intensity and the tenacity especially against Iowa. That game they looked real flat. I mean, outside, I definitely think that Oracle might have rubbed them the wrong way. But do I believe she used a hard ER? Absolutely. But like you said, I don't think it was that bad. It was like you said, it was pretty much like, well, it was quoted pretty accurately. So I don't think shouldn't surprise a lot of people, let alone her.
Yeah, and she was quick to say fake news. I'm like, Jesus. I was waiting for her to break out the MAGA hat and just kind of just roll out, but she never did that. Bruce in the chat said Angel Reese got hurt, which is true. But
she did.
There was no adjustments made on Caitlin Clark at all in that game. I feel like
they let her cook.
Yeah, they let her cook. They figured out that, you know what, they're not changing how they're playing you, Caitlin, so just keep doing what you're doing. Haley Van Lith looked lost. And you just kept putting her out there on her. It's like, go get her. And she's like, I can't stand it. I think there's one picture taken where literally, I think Clark just hit a three, and Van Lif's look at the bench like, what am I doing? It's funny because you see that game, you see that elite, that I think it was Elite Eight, and then you kind of see how UConn played her and how South Carolina played her after the first quarter of the national championship game, because first quarter of the championship game, she had 18 points. After that, she kind of got shut down. It's funny how teams have a formula how to beat her, and some teams just either stick with the formula or figure it out, and some just like, we're going to just kind of play our game no matter what, and she has to beat us. And I think that's going to translate really well to WNBA because there's a lot more game planning, there's a lot more sitting down, looking at tape. You telling me these coaches WNBA hasn't been looking at the tape already? Like, hey, we got to figure out how to stop her. And the only difference is now she's at Indiana, where she's going to be her and Aaliyah Boston. And I think that inside-outside game is going to be really interesting to watch with Indiana. So it's going to be interesting to see how kind of Clark translates into WNBA.
Yeah, it definitely will. But I agree with you. I think that I think her rookie year is going to remind me a lot of Sabrina's rookie year, where she struggled. She couldn't find her shot. Defenses clamped up on her, and they believe she was the next big type. So I think that's what's going to happen with Caitlin, especially how those UConn veterans were acting on the. Did you see that show?
Mm-hmm.
Tarazi
was hating on her heavy.
Oh. I had somebody in my job that doesn't even watch college basketball, and he was like, "Why is Tarazi hating this girl so much?" I was like, "I don't know."
Yeah.
I don't know.
But even before she comes to the league, there was a report that the Fever, who obviously worst team in WNBA last year, are going to. I'm sorry, I just saw this from Bruce. I got to put this up because he had a point. He got his point. Not saying he's completely right, but he does have a point.
Wow.
So the Fever are going to be on TV a lot this year. And then ticket sales for Indiana games, not just in Indiana at the Fieldhouse. The Liberty has already sold out their game against Indiana this year. So you're already seeing in the ratings. The ratings had it. 14 million people watched the national title game with Iowa. And I think the number was like 11 for the men.
The hottest ticket. Who would have thought an Indiana team would be the hottest ticket?
Listen,
I think
it's one.
I think the Sparks are going to have a quick rebound too, because I think they got the second pick and the fourth pick.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Great time to have.
I'm happy about all this.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, and this you look at this draft, and the NBA draft coming up this summer is going to be weak, with a lack of a better term. I started looking at mock drafts, and like there's a few players I'm like, I don't know who this person is. A lot of foreign players, so also already a lot of foreign guys. I'm like, yeah, this is weak.
I'm down.
This WNBA draft, which is happening on the 15th next week on Monday, is really, really strong. Now, it would have been stronger if Paige Beckers came out with Paige Beckers for another year. But all this new talent, and, Dawn Staley said it when they won the title, South Carolina. Caitlin Clark kind of put the sport on her back and created this buzz around it, which is going to translate to the WNBA. I talked about WNBA and how they can get 2 million viewers per game. Easy. 2-3 million viewers. And I think this is probably going to be the year where if they don't hit 2.5, they're going to get close on like a Saturday night because you know there's going to be a lot of Saturday night games on ABC and a lot more nationally televised games. I think this is the year WNBA kind of breaks it wide open, right ahead of their next CBA negotiation. I think next year. So I think this could be a big year.
I got a question for you real quick about the women's final. Do you think it should have been played in prime time on a you know how they usually do it that Tuesday after the men's?
Yeah.
Or did you like the Sunday afternoon?
I think the Sunday afternoon works because since Sunday, no one's really doing anything. Everyone's kind of home. No one's really out and about because it's a Sunday. I think I heard Dan Hurley.
I had to watch it at a bar across the street from Gino's.
Well, Dan Hurley was on the Michael Kay show here in New York, and he said he's like, it's the buzz about women's college basketball is great, and he's like, I think men's college basketball is kind of shooting itself in the foot because they're playing Sunday afternoon, we're playing at Monday at 9:30. I'm like,
I mean, it's not even that. I just think the men didn't have the star power as the women did in this tournament. The star power was all across. Yeah,
and that goes back to guys not staying longer. Like Caitlin Clark's been around. Paige Becker's, she's still around because she keeps getting hurt, but she's still around. Aaliyah Boston, Cardozo's been around for a couple of years. Angel Reese has been around for a couple of years. So these players are staying for years, getting that name recognition, staying to their juniors, even seniors. They might have another year eligibility, but they're seniors nonetheless. They're staying and getting that name recognition because ESPN's really pushing women's college basketball. The men are like, I'm out. Or they don't even go to college. They go to Overtime Elite. Or they did go to G League Ignite, which is no longer a thing anymore. So if guys stayed in college, like Zach Edey was the most recognizable player probably in college basketball this year because he's been there 4 years.
Pretty much.
That's it. And you talk about one UConn player in the chat, Bruce. I don't know.
I don't know that one guy, and they're two-time defending champions. I don't know one guy on that roster.
I know James Bouknight from like 4 years ago, and he's not in the NBA anymore. That's all. That's the only UConn player I remember from the last 4 years. James Bouknight. Like, it's a problem.
Considering that they went back-to-back for the first time since the Florida Gators did, and we know all those guys on that Florida team. I know nobody on the UConn team. I can just tell you, hey, it's a great program.
But even the tournament, and I know Bruce mentioned in chat too about how the men's tournament was trash. It was because I had Houston wing it all. I had Houston beat UConn because I was trying to be different. Mm-hmm. But you saw UConn in the round of 32, and I'm like, ain't nobody beating them. There's no. Zach Edey had 30 points. Zach Edey had a double-double. He had 30 points the other night. Still didn't make a dent. Like,
I think the star of the tournament was probably NC State, who pretty much, I've never seen that. They rode the momentum of winning the ACC tourney, and they rolled it all the way to the Final Four. I've never seen anything like that. That was impressive.
And DJ Burns is the god now in Raleigh. That's the dude right now. I was rooting for them because of that reason. Like, you made that run. You weren't making the tournament without winning an ACC tournament.
It wasn't going to be in the tournament. That's incredible.
No. Which, in hindsight, screw Seton Hall from getting the tournament, who ended up winning NIT. So, shout out to Seton Hall real fast, getting that NIT. So that was really it. The whole idea of the tournament was, okay, it's just going to be UConn, unless someone catches UConn on a bad night, UConn's winning this whole damn thing again. And that they just never had that bad night. I think
Duke caught Houston on a bad night because I didn't see Duke making it as far as they did to the Elite Eight.
No. Not at all. I don't think Duke was that good. So WNBA mock draft, obviously Caitlin Clark first, Indiana. Cameron Brink is projected to go number 2 to the Sparks. We talked about the Sparks before. She had another eligibility in Stanford, and she flat out said it. Stanford's moving to the ACC, and she's like, I wanted to stay in college of the year, but I was going to go back and forth, and I wasn't up for that travel. So
Stanford
she left
in the ACC is the most ACC West thing I've ever heard. Like I can see Stanford and Duke. It sounds right.
She said the travel is gonna be nuts, and for college football, once a week is fine. College basketball, like Stanford's gonna go out east, like 6, 7 times a year.
That's
That's
tough.
like Tara Vandermeer retired from Stanford. I'm pretty sure she probably retired for that reason. She's like, I ain't dealing with this shit. I've been coaching for 45 years. I'm not hopping on a plane 18 times a year. I'm out. I'm done. Game. Sky projected to get Carmelo Cardozo out of South Carolina. Rakia Jackson, Tennessee, going 4th to the Sparks. So Sparks 2-4, making big picks, hopefully. Aaliyah Edwards going to Dallas, who I think might be the biggest surprise this year. And they were close last year. I thought Dallas was going to make that run. I think this will be the year Dallas can actually legitimately compete against the Aces at this point. I think they're the closest team, besides obviously the Liberty. I think Dallas is the team that could probably compete with them right now, body for body at this point. And I think we get to the end of that Aces dynasty, hopefully. I think Angel Reese, Reese going 8 to Chicago. Is that too low, or is that just about where she is in the pecking order?
In the pecking order, that's about where she is. I don't think she's a top 4. So that's about right. I think somebody, I can see her sliding up to like 6. I think somebody might take a shot on her just off her GP. I think someone might take a shot and try to snag her up. But I don't think she's I don't think she's top 4. I can see someone 5, working way down to 8, trying to make a move together.
Well, here was my thought. Think about Angel Reese and her future. I'm just saying one thing that the Liberty needed: a little bit of grit and a little bit of muscle. Why not trade up? Because right now, I think the Liberty is projected to pick 10. I'm going down real quick. Sorry, 11. Maybe the Liberty move up and pick up Angel Reese to give them that grit. Because I can see a Jones-Reese front court combination just muscling dudes and people down. What do you think?
I could definitely see that. And I could also see Angel Reese and one of these rappers from the Bronx making a hot, cameo video or something this summer too. So I could definitely see the Liberty moving up. I could see that. I can envision she definitely has that grit. I think it's New York or Chicago. I think personality-wise, she'll fit in great either city. But I do think the Liberty do need to make a move, because I think the way they stand packed was not a good look, especially as the Aces are retooling. They're going to be reloading. They're still the top dogs to try to beat. So I think, it wouldn't help moving up.
Yeah, and Bruce in chat, Liberty could use Reese, stay soft. I agree. I think the one thing they needed was a little more grit, a little more muscle, and that would be the pick too. In other college news, sad day in Lexington, Kentucky, as John Calipari, the scummiest basketball coach in the world, leaves Kentucky to go to another SEC team in Arkansas. He's making
the blue for the red.
He's making $1.5 million less a year, but apparently there's a lot more NIL money in Arkansas, and apparently I think the Waltons, who own Walmart, are like huge boosters. He's friends with the Walton kids. So once again, Calipari goes for money. God bless. But even when he was in Kentucky, and he said it, they need a new voice in Lexington. I think he might be done. I think Calipari and the idea of Calipari and the genius of like, oh yeah, one and done, and these kids are gonna feed their families and all. I think that shit's done. I think he left because, and I was about to say it, and Bruce beat me to the punch. Kentucky fans, boosters, everybody in Kentucky's like, we're done with you. Like, you're not winning. Your antics on the sidelines is annoying, and you're just here for your name. You're here marketing yourself, not so much the Wildcats.
Well, not only is he done, but what was the last great Kentucky prospect? At the beginning, he was producing prospect after prospect, but when was his last great Kentucky prospect?
That's a good question.
I think we see it with Bettino. I think they could still X and O's, but in terms of having a real powerful voice and recruiting rise, those days are done. No one's listening to them. This is kind of why Coach K and everyone else got out when they got out. They saw the writing on the wall. And Calipari he's the guy that's at the party when the lights are on and he's going to the bar instead of going to the car. That's Calipari.
Damn. Patino could take the job, Bruce. I listen. I wouldn't be surprised. Patino is right under Calipari in my eyes now, because I think it was Calipari, and I think there was another coach who I just couldn't. Dabo Sweeney from Clemson. That was my 1-2, and I think Patino, after that rant he had against his team, moved up to 2. Dabo's still a dick, but
that was a terrible rant by Patino, by the way.
Yeah, Patino definitely moved to number 2. Patino could take that job at this point. Billy Donovan from the Bulls, he kind of said no. Hurley off winning the title, he kind of said, "Nah, I'm good." They're saying Scott Drew from Baylor, he said no. So I think the question becomes: is Kentucky still a good job? Oh, I can't hear you, Jay. No, I can't hear you. Nope, still can't hear you. The beauty of live radio, live television. No, I think Kentucky. If you think you got the audio, let's talk. Listen, I think Kentucky's not a good job. I think booster wise, you're gonna have support because Kentucky is SEC. You're always gonna have support. You're always gonna have money flowing. You're always gonna have people around. Kentucky is a blue blood program. And that's what you're getting from Kentucky, no matter what, like North Carolina, like a Kansas. It's a blue blood program. So you're going to get that support no matter what. Jay, you there? Nope, still can't hear you. You got to love this live stuff. Jason Mike is as bad as AEW. Bruce. Well, this is what Bruce said about Kentucky, too. It's not a bad job if you enjoy the history of college basketball and if you respect what Kentucky brings to the table. Kentucky, multiple national championships, long history, Adolph Rupp, racist. But in the SEC, you're starting to see other teams start to percolate to the top. You only have a few teams in the conference who are just kind of bottom feeders. Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt might be the only really bad team in the SEC in hindsight. Shout out to Jerry Stackhouse for tearing that program apart. I don't know. It's hard to see what the appeal would be of going to Kentucky when they have such high expectations for the team, when deep down they know that the team is not that good. This year, they had hopes that they would get to the Final Four with the team that he had, but it also goes back to the team that Calipari builds. And what he has to build at Arkansas now, he came out today and said, I got one player right now, because a lot of his players graduated in Arkansas, and a lot of guys transferred out. Once Eric Musselman left and took the USC job, a lot of his players left. They might go with him to California, or they just hit the portal. Calipari builds his teams in this way where he doesn't believe in any type of cohesion, any type of year after year kind of continuity. He's the coach that's like, I'm going to get guys who are freshmen. He really doesn't use the transfer portal a whole lot. He's been using it the last couple of years, but he'll have 2 seniors and then have like 10 freshmen. And then 4 of those freshmen leave, and then he has more freshmen, and then some of those other guys leave because they're not getting any playing time. So it's this nonstop revolving door at Kentucky. Jay, you good?
Yep. How about now?
There we go.
All right.
I was saying
Calipari and Patino heard us talking bad about them. That's what it was.
I know. That's exactly what happened. Well, I was saying while you're gone that I think Kentucky, the expectations are always so high for them. That's what makes the job not appealing, because you're not going to have any time to really build a program. Look at a UConn. Look at a Baylor. I think John Shire has unlimited time in Duke to build something after Coach K. Kentucky literally is like, you got 3 years, and we better be in like Elite 8 or Final Four in 3 years. And I think that's undoable.
Yeah, and then I'm just thinking about the landscape at SEC, where Alabama's pretty good, Tennessee's pretty good now, and it feels like Kentucky's, not to say like they're not they're not the Yankees anymore. And I think maybe a new voice in there could kind of rejuvenate that fan base and get those boosters back in line and help build the reputation that Kentucky, is known for being a true blue blood in NCAA.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the conference records from last year in SEC because I think they're in the middle. They're not what they used to be. So hold on, let me bring this up if I can get there. There we go. So Tennessee, and this is the order of how they finished in conference: Tennessee, Kentucky, Auburn, Alabama, South Carolina, Florida, A&M, LSU. They all finished either 500 or better in SEC play. Under that, you have Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Georgia, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Missouri. Missouri just 0-18 is ridiculous. Stackhouse just got fired for Vanderbilt. So really right now, Missouri and Vanderbilt is your two bottom feeders.
Right.
But besides that, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams 500 or better. And then you have another team that's like 8-10, Ole Miss 7-11. So it's a deep conference where Calipari, who doesn't believe in year after year, like building a roster year to year, having freshmen, sophomore, juniors. You have 2 seniors, you have 1 junior, you have 1 sophomore, and then freshmen. And then 6 of those freshmen leave, and then the other guys leave because they're not getting any playing time because those freshmen came into their playing time. It was this revolving door in Kentucky that Calipari is going to do in Arkansas because he has to, because he has 1 guy in roster right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think his strategy is shit because he just can't. He's still stuck in this. I can win with a young team with no experience and just will them to success, and that shit don't work no more.
It don't work no more. Not at all.
It worked when you had John Wall. When you had John Wall and Karl Anthony Towns and those DeMarcus Cousins, that worked, but
right.
The DeMarcus Cousins ain't walking through that door in Lexington. John Wall is gone, so they got to kind of get to the bottom of that. So, God bless John Calipari. You still suck. I'm going to root against you, Arkansas, as well. And I hope hope all the non-success in the world for John Calipari in Fayetteville. So good luck to him. All right. I want to talk about your WrestleMania experience on Sunday night. Cody finished the story.
Which I did not believe was going to happen. I did not think that was going to happen. I was in shock and awe when I heard 1, 2, 3.
Here's my question. And, watching it on television, how close was the crowd to going like, this ain't gonna happen? Because you had that feeling going into it. You can't tell me the people around you like, this shit ain't happening. Cody ain't winning this match now.
They didn't believe until the Undertaker came out. I think, first of all, why did the WWE pull the Avengers Endgame finale for Cody? I don't get it. I don't get it. I really thought maybe we're going to get a new Bloodline member or something happen tonight. I did not think Cody was going to win, let alone his. Even the ring announcer was crying. I mean, it was very like a lot of tears in the crowd that night. I was like, you got to be shitting me. The one time I'm rooting for Roman, he doesn't come through.
And now Roman's going to be gone for God knows how long, just relaxing. I watched both nights. Night 1 was not great. Like, it was okay.
Honestly, they weren't. It wasn't. Night 2 was better, but the 2 main events was really good.
Yeah, I think the main event on Saturday, and I'll give you maybe the ladder match on Saturday.
Okay,
was the 2 highlights of Saturday. The Usos matches.
I was looking forward to the Usos. That was a train wreck of a match.
That was dog shit. Rhea and Becky wasn't good, but apparently Becky had like strep.
That was her flu game. That was a flu game.
Like they said Becky had strep and literally had 103 fever. I'm like, my wife had strep last week too. So I pointed out to my wife, like, you had strep, but you were in bed. Becky Lynch wrestled a whole match with strep. So you get the hell out of bed and you get to fucking work. You fucking
go take
cook food, bro. You clean this damn house because Becky Lynch wrestled and she had strep. Night 2 was a lot better. I think the cash-in was smart because Drew was just being real arrogant, being douchey.
He was walking out. Maybe Punk would. I didn't think about Punk hitting him until I was like, oh shit, we're getting the cash-in, aren't we?
And I heard that music, like, oh, okay. I'm trying to think what else happened on night 2. Oh, Bailey won her match. That was an okay match.
I thought that was a wrong call. I thought they should let Io win that match.
Yeah. But I mean, I think the build up to it and how Damage Control turned on her, I think you needed to have Bailey win that match just to end that storyline and go.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to think anything. Oh, the triple threat match was okay. I'm just done with Paul completely. I think it's just done. So I'm out. I'm
interested to see the direction the company goes now, because it's the first real legit WrestleMania with no Vince involved. Triple H, everybody acknowledged that Triple H is ahead of content. So we'll see.
Wait, so my buddy's wife just commented, "No, you didn't," and I want to get the gist of what the "No, you didn't" was, because I know she probably watched Mania, and I want to see what she said about something, because I think I pissed her off. I got to see what happened in the chat. I know. I mean, and going forward, I'm curious to see now, because Raw was not a good show. Like the Raw after Mania is always like that really hyped up show, and it was just not.
They starting to have some duds here. This is the second one in a row.
Okay, so we go commercial free for the first 30 minutes that they said. First 30 was
what the
commercial
hell
free.
Was that with the Rock and
I'm sitting here watching. I'm like, okay. Jacob Fatu's gonna come out and hit him. Okay, no, okay. So no Roman, no Solo, no Jimmy. Okay. So we sit there to stare at each other and trade belts. Okay, we're doing that. Okay. He puts something in Cody's hand, which you don't know what. Okay. So it's all over. I'm sitting there watching it, because I don't watch Raw like that, because it's 3 hours of my life I don't want to give up. I'd rather watch, the pillow fighting championships on ESPN Ocho than watch a 3-hour wrestling show. And I'm sitting there like, I just wasted. And that was well over a half hour. That whole, like 40 minutes. From when Triple H came out to the end of that segment with Cody and The Rock, I'm like, holy shit. I just sat through a 42-minute segment where nothing was said, nothing was advanced. The Rock is leaving, so now he's gone. And there's something in Cody's hand, and no one knows what the fuck's in his hand.
I'm pretty sure we're getting Rock and Cody at WrestleMania next year. I think that's the match we're gonna get.
Listen, I think Triple H was tired on Monday. It's like just do this shit. We'll figure this shit out next week. Right now we're winning. We're good. Everybody's talking about us. Talking about us, AEW last night, they showed the footage from All In with Jungle Boy and CM Punk. I still don't know why they showed it. I get it was a vehicle to either counter what Punk said in the interview with Hawani last week, and to build up the FTR match with them, because FTR and the Punk are good friends. And I got why it was done, but I also don't understand why you did it. It just made, at that point, I'm like, just leave it alone. Like, Punk said his shit. He's over here. Let's just work on our shit. No,
that seemed like a very agitated episode of AEW last night. You got Ospreay taking shots at Triple H.
Ospreay, but I said this to my buddy in a text chain. Normally, I would be like, because I told my wife to clean the house with strep. That's why I pissed her off. Sorry.
He was a heel character. He was a heel character.
I was a heel. Okay, I'm a heel. Okay, that's what I do. I'm the final boss. Okay, I think Ospreay had a reason to go back because Triple H was talking about him. Triple H when he said, guys don't want to work a full schedule. Like you're not with it. I'm like, no, Ospreay didn't want to move here, so he's like, I really want to stay in England. And AEW's like, okay, we'll pay for that flight back and forth. So I think Ospreay had a right to respond because that was a direct shot at him from Triple H. I don't care what anyone says. That was towards Ospreay. So Ospreay, when he said it, I was like, he has the right to say that shit. Because Triple H came for his neck in that one. Okay. But it wasn't angry Dynamite.
I mean, good Lord. They were just everybody was angry.
But now here's my thing. You did it. It's done. Keep it moving. You got Daniel Bryan Ospreay. You got Young Bucks FCR Part 4. Samoa, you got Swerve winning the title because Swerve's going to win the title against Samoa Joe. I think they got to pull the trigger finally now.
Okay.
I think you start moving now, right? Mercedes Moné, she hasn't wrestled yet. I think they're like, okay, they're setting something up with her and Willow. Cool. Do that because they have some unfinished business. Focus on your shit now.
Hold on.
Focus on you.
Feel like I got an email from their publicist. I didn't realize there's going to be 2 pay-per-views in our region. I think Forbidden Door is going to be in Long Island at the arena.
UBS.
And there's another pay-per-view.
Full Gear is going to be in Newark. Full Gear's in Newark this year.
You got to do one of them. Got to do.
Yeah.
I'll do Newark. Event.
I'll do Newark. I'm not trekking all the way to Long Island.
Oh yeah, Long Island. Yeah. I'm not doing Long
Island. I ain't doing that shit. So I'll meet you at Long Island at the beer garden up the street, and we'll have a couple drinks before. But I'm not trekking. Long Island just seems like a chore. It's near the racetrack. I've been to that racetrack before, and it seemed like a hike. And I'm like, never again. I don't want this again.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm looking forward to it because AEW shows. Besides, last night was good, but the last 5 or 6 before last night, spot on. It was perfect, and I feel like they kind of getting it. Plus, Tony started to hire people, and he started to hire people who people. Like he has a CEO now. He hired a writer from WWE who works for Mercedes, but works mainly with the women. So I think the women's storylines might get a little better. So I think he started to realize I can't do anything by myself, and I need to hire legit, real people. I think that's going to be, you're not going to see it right now, but I think the next 6-8 months, you're going to see a difference in how things are going to be ran there.
I agree. I think it's going to get better now that he's loosening up the reins.
Hopefully.
But damn it, he gotta tell his people stop being so angry.
I know. But you, honestly, I would want that anger though. I like prove them wrong. Like put Ospreay, Triple H talk shit about you and say you can't handle shit. Go out here and keep killing it. And that's what he does. Ospreay could wrestle a fucking mop and I will watch it. Because it will steal the show. Because Ospreay is that damn good. I don't care what anyone says, those high spots and no selling. I don't care. I will watch a Will Ospreay match every day of the week over a Cody match, a Roman match, Sami Zayn match. I don't care what WWE got. If Ospreay's on, I'm going to ignore everything else and watch Will Ospreay.
Not over Cody, not the American Nightmare.
I'm waiting 6 months when the cow starts to turn on him and go, die, Cody, die. I'm waiting for that moment.
Oh, wow. You know when that's going to happen, right? When the tribal chief comes back.
Well, I got to respond to Bruce because he keeps saying RIP AEW. You know AEW is about to make a whole bunch more money with a TV rights deal. So AEW is actually about to be profitable in the next 6 months. When they get that TV deal, they're actually going to be making money. So the RIP stuff is dead because Warner Brothers Discovery seems to love what the hell they're doing right now. So
it's good content. I personally think they got too many shows. I think they should really eliminate that Friday night show. Or or make it Ring of Honor or something. Like they got to do something. Like,
well, the Friday night shows turns like Sunday Night Heat all of a sudden. No one knows what the hell's happening.
Okay.
Damn, you went wrestling challenge. That's what it is now.
Yeah, that's what it feels like. Like they only acknowledge Wednesday and Saturday. They don't even acknowledge Friday.
They do a couple of Rampage things, but it's like no one cares. No one's watching on Friday night. And Saturday night was supposed to be Punk's show. They did Collision just for Punk, and now they're kind of stuck with this show that we really don't want this show. We really don't want this show, but we kind of getting paid for it, so we kind of got to do it. So I think the next contract they're like, we got to get rid of the Friday night show. We'll give you make it like you said, make it Ring of Honor. Make Ring of Honor the hour show on Friday nights.
Yeah, that's it.
And Sam, Samoa Joe was actually originally called the Final Boss before The Rock. I'm just saying that was his name before The Rock came back. So I'm just.
These Samoans jacking each other is not a good thing, man. It's not a good thing for the culture.
Just saying that. Just put it out there. Just put it out there. Jason, it's always a great show, man.
Likewise.
Oh, I'm actually going to the Liberty Sky game on, I think, May when they playing? May 29th or May 30th or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's actually Spoon's first game against the Liberty as head coach of Chicago. So I'll be there for that game. So that'll be my first Liberty game live.
Wow. I'll make sure I'm in the house for that one.
Yep. I'll be trekking over to Brooklyn to watch this game. So be there.
Nice.
All the way over.
All right.
So box out next Thursday. We'll be back. We've been out, as you can see behind me. I've been doing some remodeling, so that's why we weren't here, because I was moving shit. So next Thursday we'll be back here on the One Podcast Network YouTube channel, and on Spotify and iTunes and all that other shit that you guys have. So for Jason Cordner, I'm Kahlil Thomas. Thanks so much for watching, listening. Next Thursday night. Peace.
Peace.
This has been The Box Out with Kahlil Thomas and Jason Cordner. Subscribe now for the best tri-state area basketball talk.